Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Got lots of NHL news and, college hockey news to discuss on the show. So make sure that you stay tuned in to the end. Before we go ahead and get started, make sure that you are following the Hockey Talk with TG podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. We are going back to putting episodes of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast out on the YouTube. It's your watch it on YouTube. We're going back to putting episodes out on there. During the Four Nations, I was putting out episodes on the TG Hockey channel. Now we're going back to the YouTube channel and we're putting episodes out on the Hockey Talk TG podcast YouTube channel. So if you regularly watch the podcast on YouTube, make sure that you head on over to the YouTube channel and watch the podcast on there. Because like I said, during the Four Nations, I was putting out podcasts or episodes of my podcast out on the TG Hockey channel. We're going back to YouTube channel, putting them out. And for audio listeners, like I said, it will just be the same as usual. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So Alex Ovechkin, he notches a hat trick in yesterday's 7-3 win over the Oilers. So the Capitals won 7-3 over the Oilers yesterday. Ovi had a hat trick. Now it's up to 882 goals. 13 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky on the NHL's all-time goal-scoring list. And the Capitals moved to 38, 11, and 8 of the season. They extend their point streak to 8 games, 5-0-3 during the span, 84 points, and they are first in the league. No surprise there. Well, actually, it's kind of a surprise because people didn't expect the Capitals to have this great start to the season. They're already first in the league, contending for a Vezina trophy right there. So it's kind of a surprise when you think about it. And the Capitals are 11-0-5 in its past 16 home games, 2-0 since the Four Nations, and they complete the weekend sweep with blowout wins. They won 8-3 against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday, and then they win 7-3 against the Oilers on Sunday. And for Alex Ovechkin, this is his 32nd career hat trick, and like I mentioned already, he's up to 882 goals in his career. He only needs 13 goals to pass Wayne Gretzky on the NHL's all-time goal-scoring list. Of course, the great one has 894. He has 29 goals in 41 games played this season, and he's averaging .71 goals per game. But the big question is, when does Alex Ovechkin break the record? The Capitals have 25 games remaining left in the 2024-25 NHL season. It will be fitting for Alex Ovechkin to break the goal record in the final game of the season for the Capitals, which is against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a home game. It's going to be an away game for the Capitals against the Penguins in the Steel City. So it will be fitting for Alex Ovechkin to break the record there against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. But as a Blackhawks fan, I would hope for him to break the record against us. I would love to see Alex Ovechkin break the record against us. He did score his 800th career goal against us. Somebody told me that, and I actually kind of forgot all about that, to be honest. But he actually did score his 800th career NHL goal against us. I would love to see him break the goal record against us as well. And coming off of that hat trick for Alex Ovechkin, he now has 5 goals in his last 5 games. And if he continues the scoring rate, it would, probably acquire 19 more games to score the 13 goals he needs to break the record. And we're looking at mid-March, probably on March 18th, when the Capitals take on the Detroit Red Wings, which of course will be a home game right there for the Capitals. He could break the record. It would be nice to see him break the record in front of his home fans. So I'm looking at March 18th for him to break the record. I'm also looking at that game against the Blackhawks on April 4th to break the record because, like I said, as a Blackhawks fan, would love to see Ovi break the record against us. And then, like I said, and then the final game for the Capitals of the 2024-25 NHL season against the Penguins, against Sidney Crosby and the Penguins, he could break the record there. And this will be a moment not only in hockey history, but also in sports history as well. It will get a lot of attention, just like the Four Nations did. Because, of course, it came on ESPN, came on TNT. It got a lot of attention from there. And with Ovi breaking the goal record, it's sure to get a lot of attention as well. Hockey deserves the attention. It's the greatest sport and game in the world. It is unmatched. No other sports could have the level and intensity that hockey has. And, just to throw this one out there, does Alex Ovechkin get to 900 goals before he retires? I know that it's out of the question as of right now because, like I said, fans are focusing on him to break Wayne Gretzky's goal record, which he does. He'll have 895 goals in his career, which he'll be 5 away from 900. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because if he does break it, of course, he'll have 895 goals. He'll be 5 away from 900. He'll be the first NHL player to score 900 goals. Like I said, I know this is not the question as of right now, but I thought I'd just bring it up. And if he does continue his scoring rate, it could happen. It could happen for him to get 900 goals. But if he, plays in the 2025-26 NHL season, he's currently 39 years old right now, so retirement does play a factor in this one. He's currently 39. He'll turn 40, I believe, in September. I think he can still stick around for the 2025-26 NHL season. Of course, he'll be up to 900 goals at that time. I really hope it happens. Like I said, he'll be the first NHL player to reach 900 goals. And not only is retirement issue, not only is his scoring rate an issue, but also if he continues to be healthy. I said this at the start of the season. If he beats healthy and plays well, as he always does, no doubt in mind that he'll break the goal record. Like I said, he's 13 goals away from doing it, and I would love to see Alex Ovechkin get up to 900 career goals before, he retires. But let me know you guys' thoughts on it. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on, do you think Alex Ovechkin could reach 900 goals before he retires? I know that it's out of the question as of right now, but it would be fitting for him to get 900 goals before he, hangs up the skates. So let me know you guys' thoughts about that down in the comments below. Always like to hear from you whether you agree or disagree with anything that I say on the podcast. All right, now we're going to talk about the Tkachuk brothers injury. I almost said the Brady Tkachuks, almost like Brady Bunch, if you will. But both Matthew and Brady Tkachuk got injured or were injured at the Four Nations event, and they did not play on Saturday for their respective teams. So, of course, for Brady Tkachuk, he suffered a lower body injury during Team USA's match against Sweden in the Four Nations face-off. The injury occurred at 5 minutes and 12 seconds of the first period, where he lost the edge on the rush and collided with Sweden's goalie Samuel Ersson. He did play in the championship game against Canada last Thursday, though. He actually scored a goal in that game as well, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for USA to beat Canada in that overtime game right there. And Brady Tkachuk, he did not play in the Senators game against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday. The Canadiens ended up winning that game against the Senators by a final score of 5-2. He didn't end up playing in that game, and of course, head coach Travis Green expressed that he could possibly return in the Senators matchup against the Winnipeg Jets. We could see Brady Tkachuk return there, and of course, I don't know if Brady Tkachuk being absent from the team will hurt their playoff chances. He does lead the team in goals with 21. I don't know if it could hurt their playoff chances. The Senators are currently in a wild card spot. I believe they have the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. Detroit has the first wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. Senators hold the second wild card spot. They're tied with the Blue Jackets with 62 points. And of course, the Blue Jackets are coming off a 5-1 win over the Blackhawks on Saturday. And speaking of that, I felt like it was a great gesture from the Blue Jackets and of course the Blackhawks to sing happy birthday to Johnny Gaudreau's son, Johnny Gaudreau Jr. I really did like that. And of course, we're always thinking about the Gaudreaus. Team USA actually did have his jersey hanging up in the locker room for the Four Nations face-off. And of course, as you watch the World Juniors, his jersey was up there in the stall for Team USA in the World Juniors. as well. So we're always thinking about Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. And no doubt in mind, if Johnny was still here, he would have made Team USA's Four Nations face-off roster for the Four Nations event. So we're always thinking about the Gaudreaus. I did like that the Blue Jackets and Blackhawks fans sung "Happy Birthday" to Johnny Gaudreau Jr. I really did like that, and they got a great recognition from the crowd right there. So great job from the Blue Jackets, and of course a great job from my Chicago Blackhawks as well. So that's what I wanted to say about that. But for the Senators, I don't know if this hurts their playoff chances or not. Like I said, the tie with the Blue Jackets was 62 points. And of course, the Blue Jackets are a surprising team this season. They're trying to make the playoffs for Johnny Gaudreau. So I don't know about the Senators. But let me know you guys' thoughts on that. Does Brady Tkachuk being injured and absence from the team hurt the Senators' playoff chances? Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Now we're going to get into Matthew Tkachuk. So Matthew Tkachuk was also injured during the Four Nations face-off. He did not play in Team USA's game against Sweden, but he did play in the championship game. I think he had 6 minutes and 49 seconds of time on ice. His last shift was with 3 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the second period. He did not play in the third period, and he did not play in the overtime as well for Team USA during their championship game against Canada. And he also missed the Florida Panthers game against the Seattle Kraken last Saturday as well. And according to what I looked up, the injury is an undisclosed injury, and head coach Paul Maurice has labeled him as day-to-day. And there also is no clear timetable for his return. And of course, Matthew Tkachuk he plays a pivotal role for the Florida Panthers. He contributes significantly to their offensive strategies for their overall success. He currently has 57 points in 52 games played this season for the Panthers, 22 goals, 35 assists for 57 points in 52 games played this season for Matthew Tkachuk. So he is one of the Panthers' top players on the team. And of course, hate to see him out. But the Panthers, overall, they're a high-power offensive stack team. So I wouldn't really worry too much. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions. I believe they're first or second in the Atlantic Division. So, like I said, you have nothing to worry about if you're a Panthers fan, but obviously you would love to have Matthew Tkachuk back in the lineup for Florida as well. All right, now we're going to talk about the rumors about putting the NHL team in New Orleans. So I saw an article on Sportsnet that there was a recent meeting about establishing a NHL franchise in New Orleans. And also I think I heard Kevin Weeks tweet about it as well. And just to give my thoughts on it, I don't know. I don't think the NHL should expand more teams. I feel like 32 teams is enough. They already brought in the Golden Knights in 2017. They brought in the Kraken in 2021. I feel like 32 teams is enough. But if you were going to put out a new NHL team, I think Milwaukee will be a good option. I believe they deserve a NHL team. You already have the Bucks of the NBA, the Brewers of the MLB. And then I know this is not in Milwaukee, but you have the Green Bay Packers of the NFL. So Wisconsin deserves a NHL team, and I believe it will particularly be in Milwaukee. And I know you got the Milwaukee Admirals of the AHL, but we're talking about NHL-wise, though, not minor league hockey-wise. So I feel like they deserve an NHL team. But putting an NHL team in New Orleans, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, they did have the ECHL's New Orleans Brass that played from 1997 to 2002. And of course, the team folded due to increasing arena costs and, of course, scheduling conflicts with the NBA's New Orleans Hornets, who are now called the New Orleans Pelicans, as we all know today. But LSU, they have a hockey team, and they're certainly doing well in the ACHA. They actually took on the Ole Miss Rebels D3 hockey team I think this was about 2 weeks ago. correct me if I'm wrong, 2 weeks ago that they took on the Ole Miss Rebels D3 hockey team. So I had the chance to see them in person. And of course, if you guys don't know my coverage of what I do for the Ole Miss Rebels D2 and D3 hockey team, please go ahead and check that out on Instagram at Ty the Hockey Boy. And also I post the game highlights on the TG Hockey channel, so you can check those out on there as well. I am around the D2 Rebels hockey team a lot, and this was my first time being around the D3 Rebels hockey team. Of course, they went at it against LSU, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago. And LSU, they have a great hockey team. Like Ole Miss, they have to drive 1 hour from their campus to their ice rink where they play at, which I believe is in West Lafayette, Louisiana. So, I mean, that could possibly indicate a growing interest in the sport within the state. I know Louisiana, like I said, is not famously known for hockey, but with what LSU is doing right now, I believe that could indicate a growth interest in the sport, in the game of hockey. I will always love to see the game of hockey grow in areas where it's not usually popular at, because it deserves the attention, it deserves the hype. And like I said earlier before in the episode of Hockey Talk TG podcast and off air a bunch of times, that no other sport has the level and intensity that hockey has. It's the greatest sport in the world for a reason. So I would love to see NHL team in New Orleans just for that reason, to grow the sport of hockey and, you know, growing the game of hockey. But overall, I think 32 NHL teams is enough. But if you were going to expand on an NHL team, it should be in Milwaukee. The only reason why I'm okay with, you know, the NHL possibly having an expansion team in New Orleans is just to grow the sport of hockey in general, and just to grow hockey in the South, because hockey is not really known in the South. But you got the Nashville Predators, and then you got the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning winning Stanley Cup. So hockey is certainly doing very popular in the South. And like I said before, I would love to see New Orleans have a hockey team just to grow the sport down there in Louisiana. And of course, the LSU Tigers hockey team is certainly doing well. So I would love to see a hockey team in New Orleans just to grow the sport. But let me know you guys' thoughts on that as well. Do you think there should be a hockey team in New Orleans? Do you agree with my reason of why there should be a hockey team in Milwaukee? Because I really think there should be a Milwaukee hockey team, Milwaukee NHL team. It is like the fans in Milwaukee deserve it. And I actually been to downtown Milwaukee before after the Bucks won their 2021 NBA championship against the Phoenix Suns. And I visited the Bucks Stadium. I visited the Brewers Stadium. It was certainly a great time in downtown Milwaukee then. And I believe the fans of Milwaukee deserve a NHL team. But speaking about hockey, you know, expanding on hockey in the South, or, you know, putting the NHL team in Milwaukee, even though that's up north, I want to talk about hockey in the South. Just to stay on that topic about putting a hockey team in New Orleans. So the College Hockey South playoffs has done a great job with, you know, making hockey popular in the South. I did enjoy the College Hockey South playoffs. Shout out to the commissioner, Kyle Kell, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, for putting this together. This was actually my first time tuning in to the College Hockey South playoffs. I missed the one from last year and, of course, the years before that. So this was my first time actually tuning in to the College Hockey South playoffs. And, you know, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, Commissioner Kyle Kell, hopefully I'm pronouncing that last name right, put on a great show for the College Hockey South playoffs. And then you had the women's division, the University of Alabama Frozen Tide women's hockey team winning the conference tournament title. And then you got the D1 University of Tampa Spartans. I actually did a preview article on that for College Hockey South. You want to go ahead and check that out if you have not already. I did do a preview article on that. And the University of Tampa Spartans won the D1 division. Michael Schemisser, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, had the game-winning goal on the power play. He was actually named MVP of the tournament with a goal and an assist. And this was the third straight year that the University of Tampa Spartans won a College Hockey South conference. Of course, the D2 team got it done in 2023. D1 team got it done last year. I was not tuned in for that one. And the D1 team got it done this year. So Tampa Spartans hockey team is certainly growing down there in Tampa. Like I said, you had the Lightning winning back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2020, 2021, made to the Stanley Cup final in 2022, lost to the Avalanche. And then you got the University of Tampa Spartans winning 3 straight College Hockey South conferences. D2 team got it done in 2023. D1 team got it done in 2024. And, of course, the D1 team got it done in 2025. So hockey in Tampa is certainly growing in there. Of course, you got the Stadium Series coming up with the Lightning facing the Bruins at Raymond James Stadium, which I believe is home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So hockey in Tampa is certainly growing, and I'm here for it. I also got to give a shout out to my Ole Miss Rebels. Like I said, I am around the Ole Miss Rebels hockey team. I post their game highlights on my TG Hockey channel, and I also post, the pictures and videos of the game on my Instagram account. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, please do. I actually did make a playlist of all my Ole Miss Rebels D2 hockey team coverage of the games that I've been to, all the highlights I posted on the YouTube channel. I actually did make a playlist of that. So you want to go ahead and check that out as well. Ole Miss Rebels, they finished the season with a 5-5-0 record, 11-9-0 overall in the AAU. And they have just been a tremendous team to watch all season. I really enjoy being around the Rebels hockey team and, covering the team in general. Shout out to Coach Herbert, for putting the team together. He certainly did a great job with coaching the team as well. And shout out to D3 Ole Miss Rebels hockey team coach Mike McAteer. Hopefully I pronounced that last name right. For putting the D3 hockey team together. We have a great coaching staff at Ole Miss. We also have a great D2 team as well. Luke Mahir and Richard Mogler were actually part of the College Hockey South Division II All-Conference third team. So shout out to them. Got to give an applause to them. They played great all season. Richard Mogler, outstanding in net. And Luke Mahir, I believe he plays defense for Ole Miss. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was excellent on the blue line. Jackson Heim, he led the way for Ole Miss with 22 points in 20 games played, 15 goals, 7 assists for 22 points in 20 games played for Jackson Himes. And then right behind him, you had Quinn Moses with 21, Tommy Halloran with 19, Luke Mahir, like I said, was on the College Hockey South Division II All-Conference 13. He had 18 points. He had Doyle Coughlin with 17 points. He actually did score the overtime game winner against FAU in the College Hockey South D2 playoffs, which was a upset victory over FAU, considering they were the top team, one of the top teams, I should say, in the College Hockey South D2 division. And Doyle Coughlin, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, scored the overtime game winner for the Rebels to win that game against FAU. And then they would eventually play the Division II champions, MTSU Blue Raiders. We had a great game against them. Didn't like the loss, though. But I couldn't be more proud of this team this season as well. Like I said, we have a great D2 team. We have a great D3 team as well. So, and the goaltending for us was absolutely great as well. Joshua Millman, who I actually call him the Millman. That's, my nickname. I actually call him the Millman. He was 2-2-0 with a 4.00 goals against average and a .704 save percentage. He did miss some time. He did miss a couple of games for the Rebels, I believe, because he was injured for a while, but he got back into action, played great for the Rebels all season in general. And then you had Richard Mugler, who was part of that College Hockey South D2 conference team. He had a 7-5-0 record with a 2.74 goals against average and a .801 save percentage. And then you had Connor Ross with a 2-2-0 record with a 3.51 goals against average and a .831 save percentage. Overall thoughts on the Rebel season, like I said before, I enjoy covering this team. I don't care if they win. I don't care if they lose. I enjoy covering the Rebels team, and I have to brag on them. They played great all season. and I enjoy going to the games, being a part of the Rebels media team. Of course, if you guys don't know my major, it is journalism, sports media. So I enjoy being a part of the Rebels team, and I enjoy covering the Rebels. Like I said, shout out to Coach Herbert. Shout out to Coach McAteer for putting these teams together. Shout out to the players, everybody that contribute as well to the Rebels team. They did a tremendous job with the team all season. And shout out to our media staff as well, the Rebels media, the social media team, the reporters, everybody that was part of the Rebels season. I couldn't be proud of this team more enough. Hopefully I'm making sense here, because I know I do get my words mixed up every time I talk. And I know sometimes I'd be going fast on the podcast every time I talk. But hopefully this kind of makes sense to you guys. Hopefully you kind of get a big understanding of what I'm saying. And also, congratulations to the Division II champs, MTSU Blue Raiders. I had to brag on the Ole Miss Rebels first because I cover the team and I'm around the team, and I'm a part of the team. So I had to brag on them first before I can brag on the MTSU Blue Raiders. I watched the championship game yesterday against the UF Ice Bulls, and they had a 4-0 shutout win over the Ice Bulls. Aiden Kopech, their goaltender, he stopped all 50 shots faced in the victory. And Lyndon Palmer, MTSU's captain, I believe, he had the game-winning goal. He actually did score twice in that game against USF in that win. And Donovan Zaynach, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, he scored twice in the win. And MTSU, if you guys do not follow MTSU's hockey team, they have a great hockey team, one of the top teams in the College Hockey South D2 division for a reason. And their top 10 players, or at least some of their players, are the top 10 players in points for the College Hockey South D2 division. Of course, you have Brandon Ogo, who had 59 points this year for the Blue Raiders. Ethan Mumbrin, hopefully I'm pronouncing that last name right, he had 55 points for the Blue Raiders. Matthew Saslino, he had 55 points for the Blue Raiders. And then you had Lyndon Palmer, MTSU's captain, with 46 points. And the goaltending was great as well. Aiden Kopech this season was 10-3-1 with a 2.64 goals against average and a .919 save percentage. I would have put him on the College Hockey South Division II conference team. I felt like he had a great year overall. And same thing with Grant Williams as well. He had a great year for the MTSU Blue Raiders, posting a 6-1-0 record with a 3.00 goals against average and a .888 save percentage. I would have put him on the College Hockey South Division II team as well. And Ethan Roy, 6-2-0 with a 4.34 goals against average and a .879 save percentage. And fun fact, if you guys did not know this, this is the first time in program history that the MTSU Blue Raiders have made the playoffs and the AAU Nationals. They had to get by us to win the Division II title. But like I said, I have nothing. I said this off air. I have nothing but respect for the Blue Raiders, all that they do over there in Murfreesboro. They have a great hockey team. They're a stacked hockey team. They played great all season. But, of course, I had to brag on the Rebels first before I could brag on the Blue Raiders because I cover the Rebels. So I had to brag on them first. But the Blue Raiders, they have a great team as well, played great all season. And I'm also happy for all the work that they've done. And I'm also happy for them winning the Division II title. Absolutely deserved it. They were a stacked team all season. Their goaltending was spot on. Aiden Kopech took home MVP in that championship game against the Ice Bulls. He took home MVP in that game. He played a great game in general. He actually did start the game against us, against the Ole Miss Rebels. He was great in that game as well, great in the championship game when it matters. So, like I said, MTSU, their hockey team has earned my respect. Nothing but respect for that team, and wish the best of luck to them in the Nationals because they're also going to the AAU Nationals, which will be in Jacksonville, Florida. So best of luck to them down there in Jacksonville, and hopefully they can come out with the win as well. All right, NHL games on the slate for today. So we got the San Jose Sharks taking on the Winnipeg Jets at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That game will be on NHL Network, followed by the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the LA Kings at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. So not a busy day for hockey around the NHL, but, two games just look forward to, especially that Sharks and, Jets game. Of course, that'll be on NHL Network for you guys to watch. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for this episode of Hockey Talk TG Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Really do appreciate it. In Wednesday's episode of Hockey Talk TG Podcast, I will give you guys a schedule for how it's going to be these next 2 weeks with the trade deadline happening next Friday. I'll give you guys the rest of the week schedule for Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. Also, make sure that you're following the Hockey Talk TG Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like I said, this episode that I've just finished wrapping up, that will be on the YouTube channel. So if you normally watch the podcast on YouTube, it will be on the YouTube channel. Of course, all my Four Nations episodes were on the TG Hockey channel. We are going back to the YouTube channel, putting out episodes on there. So make sure you head on over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you normally watch the podcast on YouTube. All right, guys, so hopefully you have a great rest of your day. God first, as always. Be blessed. I'll see you guys Wednesday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. Take care.